Well, it's the start of the second leg of our exploration of Madagascar, and we've got a couple, in fact, for four of us, of four-wheel drive vehicles. So despite the wind, we've come up to the northeast coast now. It's still only about 8:30 in the morning, and it's 26 degrees already. And we're looking down really on the Indian Ocean and the French Montagne, the mountain opposite. It's a crater lake here, and the plug in the middle is a sacred kind of plug. So the city we're in now is Diego Suarez, which is really where we flew into this morning. It's in marked contrast to Tana itself and further south. Cleaner and quieter would certainly be two ways to describe it, even though it's a Sunday. There's much evidence of the French colonial style in the buildings. Slight issue with this building with the scaffolding and the arch that's about to collapse. I don't think the scaffolding will hold it. A nearby old colonial brass band concert area pavilion overlooking the bay beyond. It certainly is a very beautiful coloured and imposing bay. The statue here is of the French guy in charge, I guess, at the time, Joffre. Well, for 3 nights we're staying here. Lychee tree, which is a fairly small guest house really. There's about half a dozen rooms. Guest house where we eat is just through the grounds down the pathway here. And in the grounds there's this, oh, he's shooting up now, this amber chameleon. It's decidedly camera shy. Probably because you can smell Mark's feet just behind him. Introduced species is of course the sisal. I've just been shown the difference between the sisals on the leaves. That makes it the male, and the smooth edge is the female. And that black and yellow thing in the middle is actually the crab spider hanging onto its web. It's not on the leaf behind. And the chirpy little chap up there is a Madagascar bulbul. Well, it is Sunday afternoon and the local population are all playing football. Some with slightly different types of ball. Go on, kick it, laddie. Now it looks like the whole village is out to watch this very routine game of football. Taking it quite seriously. But it's not quite the sort of pitch we see at home, I don't think. Sadly, the football pitch is adjacent to some old school buildings originally built in the 1930s, which are now derelict. Sadly, it's not only the school building which is derelict, but in its day it would have been quite a magnificent street, typical of French design, still with a clapped out French car. Now, the roads are so quiet around here, even the geese have time to cross without being bothered, and the goslings, look. So this is kind of Independence Square for the Malagasy people. Gained independence in June 1960. You've got to kind of think they were better off under the French, because everything's gone downhill. Houses don't have water, there's no electricity, and there's no schools left. Is that progress? Sunday dinner's under preparation here, outside this Malagasy residence, with some other residences nearby and adjacent to the local market. It's a limited choice of items available. Kind of the makings of coleslaw, and some dried fish. And I've been eating several crevette dishes. Maybe I won't anymore. Watercress, some tomatoes, and lots of these little dried fish. Everything, of course, is in small, easy to buy portions, as everything is bought to cook straight away. Okay, so today a little bit cooler now, a little bit of wind blowing. We've just driven a short way to the entrance of the Amber National Park, and we're going to spend the day exploring this with our guide Nicole. Well, the Campbell limousines dropped us off in the forest to start the walk, with Nicole there, our guide. And immediately this chameleon planter was seen on the first tree. Walking through kind of an avenue of these angel trumpets, which when dried and smoked and rolled apparently are very good as an anti-asthmatic remedy. This is the Brucasia chameleon, the smallest in the world. On Nicole's already small hands. So. Here's my little finger.
Yes.
Well, that's against Richie's little finger.
So you can make here too.
By comparison, this gastropod, one of the land snails, is a huge, more like a seashell than a forest snail shell. And then high up on this branch already, a Sandford's lemur. He's just in there.
Just behind the branch. That's good.
Epiphytic tree ferns are everywhere, and this huge buttress on the tree just before us. This is a tricoloured fern. There's this purple centre to the leaf, the green tips, and that changes to white later as well. And apparently it also has a yellow flower. Crowned lemur.
Where's the second one? Oh, I see. Oh, beautiful. Right here. Right here. One down the.
So this is the male crowned lemur. The grey one I filmed a little earlier was the female. The round tree ahead, a little like a tree fern, is in fact the crocodile fern, and in the upper left hand corner of the picture are the yellow seed pods for it. This caterpillar is hanging on a thread in the middle of the path. It's got some really horrible spines on it. It's just caught our guide, in fact, on the arm.
This one, yeah, this is a good right, this one.
And epiphytic tongue ferns in profusion here. Well, correction coming up, it's a bird's nest fern. This is the Amber Mountain rock thrush. And this is the chrysalis of a large butterfly. I'm holding my hand there to give it some scale. It's just enormous.
Egg, larva, chrysalids and
And then a brief opening along the path we're ascending gives us a view back down over the amber forest canopy. And here another one growing off the fig tree. Those little round balls of fruit. Well, after a steep walk down through the forest, we emerged at the crater lake. And again the amber rock thrush. And we return back up our descent path. At the top of the rise we saw quite a lot of lemur again moving across. There she goes. One in fact had a baby clung to its back. So looking due north from a vantage point, we've got the Indian Ocean to the east and the Mozambique Channel to the west. And then a short while later we came to a viewpoint looking back down onto the crater lake we've been around the shores of a little earlier. Now Nicole here, our guide today, is a bit of a swinger really. She's been singing to us as well, some Whitney Houston songs. And so we came up to the waterfall. Wonderful cool feeling being here. And on the ground is a ring-tailed mongoose, rufous coloured.
Right up the bench.
Now the viewer needs to look closely to the right hand side of this branch here, because that is a leaf-tailed gecko in such clever disguise. And down again from his tail down to his head. Just see the eyes. Whoosh. Right, his eyes down the bottom again for an angle. Up to the top to the tail. And back down the body again.
the same of this morning.
Right. Oh, he's moving now, that's good. We know he's alive. We'll see. Later, after a little light lunch, we came across this beautiful little waterfall. So this chameleon's trying to race away from our camera. He's camera shy. Right. Now he's not moving. Why don't you move? He knows I'm stalking him because his eye keeps turning backwards looking at me right now. There's a lot of butterfly around, always hard to photo, and this one, if only he would open his wings up, will show a wonderful orange eye on the inside. Asking too much, isn't it? Rich, disturb him.
See if I'm going to put a shadow on him, whether he would do it.
Yeah. The next day we set out for a different walk, and again it's just these bird's nest tree ferns in profusion, which are very impressive. And this dead canarium, the one with the buttress trunk, has been blown over, but it's such a natural root source for other plants, including this, what looks to us like a little bit of a monkey Brussels, but is in fact another orchid variety. Decay and rot is all part of the natural development of a forest, but this ancient forest has got some truly wonderful examples of trees to be seen. Looking vertically up, the strong late winter winds are rocking the trees across. At ground level, this buttress formation makes them look as solid as a rock. Well, this is just an example of the beauty of trees and the colonisation of them, such as this strangler enveloping another tree. This close-up is of the bark of the Robusta eucalyptus, but of interest now, if I just press it, it's just so soft. It's like a giant sponge that you just press and leave your fingers indented in the soft bark surface. Butterflies abound, and to catch one, and high up here, is the most amazing example of an epiphyte fern. And another butterfly there, beautiful colouring. And it's a clearing in the forest, looking down on this quite impressive waterfall. Well, the pandanus tree here is now just coming out into flower, one we've not seen before. Later it will fruit here, the fruit which will drop to the ground, very rich in vitamins, vitamin C in particular apparently. But the tree itself has lemur-proofed itself from the fruit and the flowers being eaten by the lemurs, with these very fine and quite sharp spikes growing up the trunk. Well, we returned the same way. We'd walked out to the waterfall, passing a few of the local community on the way, including the lady here with the heavy yellow kind of sunscreen on her face. This bug just flew in onto the leaf. Another chameleon for us. He's right on the end of this branch. So. It's those eyes, look at those eyes. That's fabulous. There's a new weaver nest. And the bird's just flown out. Well, the next day we're back on the road, very, very windy. We're just looking up and across now to the baobab forest. That's up on the hillside here. Quite hard to see. We're on National Highway number 6, so this is the main road, all the way back down to Tanner. It'll take 24 hours if you drive it in one. One of the first towns we came to on our way south was market day. Looks like the chickens are destined to be sold a bit later. On sale on the side of the road, complete with all the dust. Local butcher. Then just out of that township, we're back into the paddy fields. Rice is grown a couple of times a year.
Our old water bottles.
Are actually used for chilies here, sometimes mango chilli. There's even some Johnny Walker red label bottles down at the bottom, I notice.
A little further on, much quieter, rural community, a little bit of water, and the daily ritual of washing either pots or clothes in that water.
In the rice fields ahead, plenty of cattle egret looking for grubs and insects. We're in the northern part of Madagascar now, kind of sandwiched between the Mozambique Channel, as I'm looking south, that's to my right, and the Indian Ocean out to the left. And in the far distance there's a smokestack rising, I don't know whether that's visible or not, and the little island behind that is Nossi Bay on the west coast. We're heading there later. Here the wind is really still buffeting, but it's a very hot, tinder dry day. It's about 33 degrees at the moment, and the ground is just parched and dry. Well, after a bumpy old ride, a lot of dust, and still a lot of heat, we've come through to the Hirana camp in the most wonderful of settings in the Titsi National Park. More about that later. And we're being welcomed with a special drink. Well, when we arrived into our allocated unit, it's the most fabulous setting again. It's all made of this wattle and daub and mud and what have you, with a fairly open air roof system. We were in part relieved to discover this was not our bed. Yep, as the lady says, there are armchairs in the lounge and a dried fruit bowl, our mosquito netted bed, along with the one essential, and a massive kind of open air shower area as well. A couple of nights here, looks good. But really it's the lakefront view which takes some beating. After a good few hours travelling, we needed to stretch our legs a little bit. We left the camp, walked across this field where the oxen are eating the old stalks of, I think, sugarcane. That's the chicken shacks. And out down towards where some corn is growing in a field beyond. We're also underneath a fig tree here, slightly more unusual. The fruits are growing off the trunk. There's also here a plantation of cotton. There's also a crop of tobacco. All of this is on the edge of the Singi National Park, which is a unique limestone rock formation, very angular and sharp ridge. Well, we were fortunate to get 3 crowned lemurs just darting across in front of us there. That great sighting, we ascended quite steeply with the aid of steps and ropes up to a viewpoint. Already the sharp nature of the limestone is all around us. Going to thrutch our way through this little gap ahead. That's a technical expression. Onwards and upwards. So anyway, we've made it to this viewpoint amongst the really angular, sharp limestone. I mean, we've got limestone near us, but nothing quite like this. Most impressive.
That's the second building there.
Well, one of the reasons the rock is called Singi is for this very reason. The Pachypodium flower is already out here. Again, like our magnolia at home, it flowers before it comes out in leaf. And then, really, the strangest tree I think we've ever seen. This is the Singi tree, which kind of ends there and just has all these tendrils, creepers, just spreading around throughout the rest of the trees up here. This time of year there's no leaf or anything on it, but in the wet season it does produce a green leaf. That's it. And another. Well, we continue through this sharp rock, both doing little descents. And climbs up. They've actually made the path quite good here, with plenty of bolts and little rock steps put in for us, like these. Via Ferrata, eat your heart out. There we are. That's a grin and bear it grin I've got there. Well, we've done some impressive stuff over many years. But I must say, we're just so impressed with this scenery and the dramatic form that the rock takes. Never seen anything quite so sharp. But the views now we've reached the top, all around, down to the camp we're at, and the village life we enjoyed earlier. Just absolutely classic, stunning stuff. We're planning to stay up for the sunset, so the challenge is going to be coming down out of this lot in the dark, I guess. And I think I've got the rest of the wannabes up here. There, summer tears. Well, the intrepid pioneers that we are continue to twist our way around this sharp, ragged and tuneful rock. And there they are, they've emerged again, now following my footsteps and just looking back to the viewpoint we were at just a few minutes ago. Certain trees we have to avoid using as a support on the way down because of the spikes. And slowly, slowly does it. And then with head torches we came through a tunnel cave system. My head torch is quite bright enough for the camera, but never mind, you get the idea. Complete with this poisonous tiger spider.
He's good.
And inside there's the most amazing stalactites. And there's a little cave bat here. And so finally we ended the walk as the sun had set and darkness was upon us. Well, it's another day and it's another guide and it's another national park. And this is the Mantale tree, only just come out into fresh green leaf as it's now the end of winter and into spring. Well, like yesterday, it's another Singi limestone formation very dry at this bed we've just crossed. Dry this time of year, come January when the rainy season starts. Could be in full spate and lasts 4 months. Well, the balsa tree on the right hand side here photosynthesises through its trunk, and it's a bit like us. Its bark peels during that photosynthesis process. Another baobab tree here, and so this particular example is around 1,000 years old, and is locally called the mother of the forest. High up in this tree, an epiphyte fungus is growing. It will be green in the wet season, but now it's yellowy brown with veins showing in the dry. Here's the start of another tsingy tree, again only found uniquely on limestone. Crowned lemur again. Male.
It's weight about 1 kilogram than this one. And the big one removed from Madagascar.
Looking straight up, more or less into the sun here, at the Ankara sportive lemur. Oh no, there's the sun going. Just in the top of this little bit of dead tree. And another. And through the forest we emerged at a viewpoint overlooking the Tsingy limestone pavement. And perched in the top of this dead tree is another Ankara spotted lemur. This is the Bigfoot tree, which is a really impressive root system which we're now walking through. The sacred hybrids. And then on the tree, this leaf-tailed gecko, seriously well camouflaged to his tail and back down to his head. And similarly over here we have a caterpillar, again head down, tail up, only visible by those 5 black spikes, I guess you call it. Well, I've walked some way now down the dry riverbed, and in the wet season what we're walking down now would be a waterfall leading to this huge great sinkhole ahead.
About sinkhole is the first, the second, and the crocodile.
And the cleft of this tree, that's another tree gecko.
Okay.
Another one a little easier to see, the green one. And here the male of the panther chameleon. Well, a little later we get going in the forest and then started this descent down towards a huge cave. The squawk is from the ring-tailed parrot, and now the entrance is just coming into view with some serious cliffs above us. Well, the cave we've just visited is full of bats, huge bats, about a kilo in weight. They were making a real squawking noise, although I wasn't able to record that. Just in the background now. Well, I couldn't be any closer to this lemur. He's 2 foot away. Well, a little later on, the next part of our adventure was about to start as we're going out onto the lake in these canoes. I think the camera heard that. Well, I'm literally at the very front, the pointed end of the boat. Well, that chap there has just launched us. He's not even in knee-deep water. So well, the kids on the bank can't quite believe what entertainment they've got laid on for this afternoon. Well, that turned out to be very short-lived because we're too heavy for this boat. We're getting either the bigger boat or another boat, so we don't quite know what's going on. Right, that's dumped the 2 fat bastards, Rich and me, out of one boat into another. Well, Shoreside Life continues despite the entertainment laid on the lake. So the kids are still playing football. Out on the other side are the cabin units we're sleeping in for a couple of nights. So centrally located is Zebu Island and the Tsingy rock formations that we climbed up and around yesterday. So this is life on Zebu Island. Quite a lot of young calves there just grazing. And just flying around is a really beautifully coloured red kite. A large one, brown in colour. More great views to the Tsingy. Well, we're being served a sacred rum.
That's rum and ginger. Green-backed heron on the shoreline. Well, after about 3.5 hours on the road, we've reached Port Anchife. Well, we were very swiftly transferred to what's called a speedboat, the Corrie something or other there, Mary Move. Yeah, and we're on our way to the island of Nosy Be, leaving the mayhem of mainland Madagascar behind us. Now, we got this boat for the four of us. Look at the volume of folk on the ferry over there. We came across to Nosy Be. Well, we've kind of made it up the gangplank here. We're travelling through Hellville on our way to another port. There's people everywhere again. Well, we had a minibus transfer across the island. Yeah, hey, with our guide here. And only about 20-25 minutes.
Make it funny here.
Yeah, that's good. Now we're making our way down to what's called Sandy Beach, presumably to the island opposite where Sakatir Lodge is located. Here we are at Shanty Beach, Chanty. There's all sorts of other activities, a little bit of horse riding. The other way we've got the well, there's definitely scuba diving and there's snorkeling opportunities, all sorts of things that we can do now over the next 6 days that we're going to stay at the Sakatir Lodge over on Sakatir Island. It's 3 square kilometres, I think, altogether. Might just about get around that. Well, we're got to walk out to the boat that's in the ocean there. He's waving again. So it's shoes off and a bit of a wade to get to the boat. So there we are. This is how we get across to the island. I think it's going to be a bit like being marooned over there. And finally, after all that journeying, we've made it. Well, after arrival we were shown through to our rooms, which contain these 4 lounges overlooking the ocean. Our suite is on the left, and central is a seating area, all very open and cool, along with a fridge with boiling water supplied, teas and coffees, and then 2 single rooms for Rich and Mark. Very spacious, very welcoming. We even have our own dining table, although the restaurant is only a couple of minutes walk away. Just in front of the development, and only a short way out to sea, is a very good snorkeling area, and that is about the place we're going to go and investigate. Well, we've now got several days just kind of at leisure, with no fixed programme or itinerary. So it's Saturday morning now, we're just taking a stroll along the beach at nearly 9:30 in the morning. It's warm and sunny, well, hot really, to be honest, but very pleasant. Just a matter of a few hundred metres down the beach is the local village. The locals, of course, are sensibly all sitting under the shade of the trees, and we're walking along the sand in the full heat of the sun. So Nosy Sakatir is located on the
western side of Madagascar, so I'm now looking back over to mainland Madagascar, 4th largest island in the world. And Nossi Sakatir is just opposite from Nossi Bay, where we took that speedboat across to yesterday, and then a second boat from Nossi Bay over to Sakatir here. It's a tiny island. Well, we found a new type of lemur in the mangrove forest here today. This is film. Yeah, and he's showing me how adept and able he is at swinging through the trees. Yeah, I think he thinks it's a photograph. Yeah, keep coming. Yeah. That's it. Well, as life revolves around the sea, this is probably the local boat repair yard, waiting for its outrigger to be reconnected. And some of the wildlife, of course, has to be the crab. Stop walking there. Well, today, a short way from the shoreline, there is a wooden pirogue. Looks very low slung in the water already, and it's waiting for 4 heavyweight passengers to board, because we're going around the island in that thing. So, first stage of course is boarding the boat, and we have to wade out through the water to get to that. Well, the next bit should be fun, climbing aboard this thing. Well, it's only made to board now, it'll probably sink then. And we're away. Well, high tide has now passed, so the water's going out, and from the others over there you can see quite shallow depth. Lovely clear waters. And we soon rounded the first headland to a lovely little cove. We're now already over on the west side of the island, looking through to a more traditional Malagasy community. One of the local turtle beaches. Well, the first 2 and there were doing a bit of snorkelling, and I'm about to join them, so no more film. Well, after that first snorkelling session, we've landed on a nearby beach with our guide here, and we're just going to take a stroll along the beach and see what's happening. There's one boat here that's up on the shoreline, and it appears they're doing some repair work to get it back into a seaworthy condition, and that might take a while. Well, next Sunday we'll be back home. I think this will just be a very pleasant but then distant memory. And another pirogue up on the water's edge. Oh, and they've spelt my name a little bit wrong, but never mind. Along the beach there are shells aplenty, including these really quite large clams. Just a bit of scare with my foot. Well, needless to say, we hadn't been walking on the beach for very long when we were accosted by some guys trying to sell us things. They do look very good, but really our money's on the boat, which is a good thing, eh? Well, lunch is also included today somehow. So the first course, which is a salad platter, has already been put on the table in front of us to help ourselves to. And then following on from that is rice, some crab probably in a Creole sauce, and well, a little fish. Yeah, with Rich's hand there you get some idea of the size of it.
Yeah.
Oh no, I haven't seen his teeth, hang on. Yeah, that's your portion, Mary. Well, on the next day it was a little more overcast, but still very warm. So Mary and I chose to do a shoreside meander, looking at some of the seashells, of which there are plenty. Big bird prints going back to the water too. Crabless, but a lot of sand is kicked out of the little nest hole he makes for himself. He's keeping hidden from me. And this is the local village attached to the lodge that we're staying in. Oh, I'm guessing this must be some form of a sacred tree, because these strangler figs have definitely, strangler vines have got a good hold on this tree, and it's now protected around the bottom by a bamboo barrier. Interesting succulent here with a red flower and a variegated leaf. Well, the following day we decided to do a full day excursion by boat, and we were brought through by a rather knackered old car to Ambataloka here, where we're waiting to board one of these boats. There's quite a lot of folk congregating, and at the moment we're not 100% sure what's going on. The boat adjacent to us has got plenty on board. There's 7 on this boat with us, and we're about to depart. I've come through to Nosekomba, another island. We're going to spend a little bit of time translated. Nosekomba really means the island of lemurs. And look, on my birthday this year they presented this statue to the women of the woman with the lemur. Primary school is right in the heart of the village. There's not a lot of teaching going on, they seem to be playing, and it's 9:45 in the morning. It's all heavily geared up for sales to the tourists who land here daily. And some fantastic tablecloths here in this one, the central lemur design. So we're heading up to the lemurs. Every inch of the way is lined with sellers trying to flog us some wares. The shade of the jackfruit tree is very welcome, complete with some fruit which is still enlarging before they're ready and ripe. Green chameleon here, they're busy feeding on, I think there's a bit of banana smeared on the tree. That's a bit of a cheat really, but still exciting. That's the first time I've seen the famous Madagascar vanilla. The pods are now growing, they don't like full sun, so partial shade. And in the undergrowth also, with a bit of protection, 3 tortoise down here, the radiated tortoise. This is the black macaco lemur with a long black tail.
So if you want to take a picture, you can take it with
This is the male, the black one. And the brown one here is the female.
the female, yeah. Take a picture.
The female and male together. Always when I film I think they're about to leap and jump. Go on, go on, go on. Come on my friend, jump. And then they don't.
When all the lemurs they see the baby, they fight with the baby. They want to
Little baby on the
baby.
mother's back here.
All the lemurs when they see the baby, then after that, the baby is not dead. Going out the tree. Like it. We take.
une centaine là.
Et Alexis, maintenant on a une ronde. Et Alexis. Doucement, doucement. Ah, polé, polé. Et en plus, c'est la langue qui est plus compliquée. The difference between male and female. The male he has the color like that, and the female he has like orange color. And just the male he can change the color. Well, like when he angry, all the time he can change the color all the time. The female he can't change it. Just the
Then it was back down through the tourist village where there's various bits of art on sale. And village life continues. This little lad fixing the sewing machine. Right, so we come through to our next island. It was a really choppy boat ride. Won't go into the detail of that, but this is now a maritime national reserve. Well, the snorkelling here really is superb. We've all just been in, that's the three of us, and there are just thousands, absolutely thousands of really colourful shapes, sizes, all types, plus all the coral to go with it. It's just a kaleidoscope down there. We had another snorkel after lunch, and now we need to return on the choppy waters back over to Nossi Bay Island. Well, on our return we'd had a very choppy crossing, and then the pilot of the boat used more fuel than he thought he was going to, so this boat's come to our rescue to give us some more fuel. And the boat is called the Reef Doctor. Quite good, that. So this is in fact being towed in by the Reef Doctor back to the port. So we're now berthed on a beach near to a fuel depot, which is complete with some, I think Malagasy style is always that straightforward. We're not here for fuel, we're now waiting on a totally different spot to where we started this trip for the cars to come and fetch us from here. The way the boats are unloaded here is there are 4 sacks on these guys. I'll have to wade out into the water to the boat in order to offload and bring to shore. But all the boats are playing the same game. It's just a horrendous way to have to offload a boat. The next place. Well, that's all foreground activity. The background is all the super rich yachts, the catamarans and what have you, that are sheltering from the strong winds that have prevailed today. Well, we've spent the last 6 nights in paradise, and unfortunately today is our final day and we fly out later.